You may think your environment is just where you live, just where you work, just what surrounds you, but it is changing you daily. And the dangerous part is this: it rarely happens loudly. It happens quietly, so slowly you barely notice it. Until one day, you realize your standards are lower than they used to be, and you can't explain how it happened. Here's the real problem. Most people believe their choices shape their life, and that is true, but what shapes your choices is often your environment. What feels normal around you eventually feels acceptable, and what feels acceptable eventually becomes how you live. That means your environment can slowly teach you to tolerate things you once promised you never would. Mess becomes normal. Distraction becomes normal. Low effort becomes normal. Excuses become normal. And average becomes normal. Not because you chose it, but because repeated exposure changes your internal standard of what feels acceptable in your life. The mind adapts quickly to whatever surrounds it, even when what surrounds it is hurting it. The people around you, too, shape you, not always intentionally, but constantly, every single day. If everyone around you accepts less, complains more, and avoids growth, your mind adjusts. Soon, discipline feels extreme, ambition feels strange, growth feels uncomfortable, not because it is wrong, because it feels unfamiliar. See what this does? That is how people slowly shrink themselves, not through one decision, but through constant exposure to lower standards. You stop expecting more. You stop pushing harder. You stop correcting yourself. And eventually, you stop noticing. That is what makes environment dangerous. It can lower you without your permission or awareness. And your environment is not just physical. It is digital, too. What you consume shapes you daily. What you watch repeatedly becomes what feels normal, and what feels normal starts influencing how you think. Your feed can train you to be distracted, to compare constantly, to seek stimulation, to lose depth. That means changing your life sometimes begins not with changing yourself, but changing what surrounds you. Because discipline grows easier when your environment supports the person you are trying to become. And discipline feels harder when your environment keeps feeding the version of you you want to leave. Look at your room. Look at your phone. Look at your routines. Look at your circle. Then ask honestly, is this environment raising your standards or quietly lowering them every single day without resistance? Because your surroundings are either helping your future self or strengthening your old life. Raise what you tolerate. Raise what you allow. Raise what feels normal. Raise what surrounds you. Everything follows that. Protect your mind from weak environments, because weak environments create weak standards over time. And once standards drop, behavior follows quickly. That is why your environment matters so much. You do not rise only through effort. Sometimes you rise because your environment stops pulling you down. Your life reflects what your environment teaches you to accept as normal. So if you want more, stop asking only, how do I change? Ask, what surrounds me? Next, sleep is destroying your discipline, because even strong people struggle to perform when their body is working against them.